the connections between people, they rely on a lot of factors, and a lot of them invisible, and trust is one of these. And trust is created at an emotional level, and it's emotional because you're deciding to let people in to come closer to you and what you think and believe and information about you. And the area of trust is, if you let someone know something personal about you, what are they going to do with it? Are they going to keep it to themselves? Are they going to tell a lot of other people? Are they going to use it against you? So there's a lot of elements around this area of trust. So, for example, just a simple thing, say your son isn't well. Now, you might share that with somebody, and that you're also having difficulty in managing your son and having a good relationship, so that's not working in your life. So if you share that with a colleague, they might tell a lot of people about that, but it's actually private information. And so that area of knowing the other person can hold what you're letting them go is essential. So trust is a risky business. You might let a peer or colleague know that you're having difficulty with your son's behaviour, but you do want to know that they're going to contain that. They're not going to spread it around the organisation or use that against you in any way. But there's a kind of a relationship here. The more you reveal of yourself doesn't mean the greater trust. But being discerning about who you share something with. So you might share about your son, your relationship with your son with a peer, but it wouldn't be so appropriate to share at the same level with, say, your staff member. So you might say something, I'm distracted by a family matter at the moment. So there's kind of levels of trust, and being wise about who you share with what is essential. So the opposite to trust is gossip, is where people will just share what they want about you or use information against you. One of the things is about sharing with your staff is that they then start to feel sorry for you or concerned for you, and you lose your function as a leader. And so being wise about who you choose to share with is kind of one of the criterias. And you can only learn that by trial and error, and that's the painful part. People can tell you the principles, but actually choosing who you might share this with is your own discernment and your own kind of relationships you have. And ideally, the person that you share these things with are likely to share some of their things that are close to their heart with you, be it organisational or personal. And so that's what gets worked out in a relationship. And so, and from my point of view, there's probably about 7 things that create trust. The first is empathy, compassion, genuine care and concern. And you can't fake that. It does mean that you, for a time, stand in the shoes of the other person. It doesn't mean that you're there to fix whatever's happening. That's not the role. But to show that you're concerned. And just a simple thing is by listening. And sometimes you may want to say, oh, tell me more. And so the person is free to talk with you. So that's the essential first one. And the second is listening. So the person knows that you've heard what they've said. They might not know what you're going to do with it. And this is now the area that is being able to contain yourself, what you've heard, and to be able to hold confidences. That's essential in creating trust. The next thing is really ensuring that you hold those confidences and don't distribute them. That's a core. If you use information that you've heard about people negatively, or if someone says something and your reaction is kind of questionable, or you sort of indicate that there's something just in your body language, this can break trust over time, where people feel like you're going to stab them in the back or you're not standing beside them as a colleague. So people are finely tuned to sensing that that's what's occurring. So being aware of how you respond and how you hold confidence is an essential part of trust. So the next area is around knowing that you can add value, so providing the other with valuable information that they can use. So often organisationally that might be about what's going on or something that you've heard. So sharing that in a way that will be used productively, that's another essential element in trust. Often when you're sharing something that's confidential, people are going to want to ask you questions, and I think this is in the normal course of events. But if you're trusted to be able to provide information and be concise, people deeply value that. Particularly at senior leadership level, people don't want a lot of context. Often they get what you're talking about within 1 or 2 minutes or 1 or 2 sentences. So not feeling compelled to explain the whole setting or describe the whole background to something. Trust is created if you can be precise and concise. One of the bases of trust organisationally is just doing what you'll say you're going to do. If you're not able to do that, you'll just notice people will distance themselves from you over time. There's an enormous amount about being reliable. So it's learning how to manage expectations and how to let people know if you've run into difficulties, not just get to the deadline and say I haven't done it. So people really value knowing that you're involved with them. If you're not able to deliver something, if they know that, together you can work something out. But doing what you say you're going to do creates certainty and is a great trust builder. The final one is, and this is what I think a lot of leaders find really difficult, is acknowledging their mistakes. When people do that, you reveal you're human, and then you can do something about repairing what needs to be repaired. But a lot of people want to hide them, want to pretend they didn't happen, or to blame others, and that's a real trust killer. So, yeah, those are the core elements about developing trust between people and organisations.